The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was silent. 10,000 species had sent their representatives to this place. Some floated in tanks of liquid, others stood on legs of metal and bone. A few existed only as light, shimmering in the air like ghosts. They had gathered here for centuries to discuss trade, war, and the fate of worlds. But today, they watched one alien speak with fear in their hearts. High Commander Thexrule of the Velkari Dominion stood at the center of the hall. He was tall, nearly 8 feet, with a body covered in black armor that grew from his own skin. His eyes were red and cold. His voice echoed through the chamber like thunder. "We claim the world called Earth," he said. "It belongs to the Dominion now." Whispers spread through the hall. Representatives looked at each other with worry. Earth. The small blue planet in a forgotten corner of the galaxy. The world that every species knew about but never discussed. The world marked in every database with the same warning: do not engage, observe only. An old Etherian floated forward. The Etherians were beings of pure light. They had existed for millions of years and remembered things that others had forgotten. This one glowed soft blue, and when he spoke, his voice was gentle but serious. "High Commander," the Etherian said, "we advise you to reconsider. Earth has been under quarantine for 12,000 years. The reasons are old, but they are important. That world is not what it seems." Thexrule laughed. It was a harsh sound, like rocks breaking. "You are afraid of primitives? They have not even left their own planet. They fight among themselves with simple weapons. They are children playing in the dirt." "They were children once," the Etherian replied. "They are not children anymore." The Crothian ambassador rose from his pool of water. The Crothians were large creatures with many tentacles and teeth like broken glass. They were warriors, almost as feared as the Velkari themselves. But even the Crothian looked uncomfortable. "The quarantine exists for a reason," the Crothian said. "My people visited Earth 3,000 years ago. Only one ship returned. The captain refused to speak of what happened. He burned his own records and then took his own life. We have not gone back." More whispers filled the hall, but Thexrule only smiled. "Stories," he said. "Legends to frighten children. The Velkari do not fear legends. We have conquered 47 worlds. We have broken species older than your memories. A single primitive planet will not stop us." He turned and walked toward the exit. At the door, he stopped and looked back at the council. "Watch," he said. "Watch and learn what true power looks like." Then he was gone. The council sat in silence for a long time. Finally, the Etherian spoke again. "Open the viewing channels," he said quietly. "All worlds should see what happens next. Perhaps it will remind them why some doors should stay closed." 3 days later, the Velkari Armada arrived at Earth. 1,200 warships filled the sky above the blue planet. They were massive things, each one capable of destroying cities in minutes. Their weapons could crack continents. Their shields could stop nuclear fire. The Velkari had used this armada to crush civilizations far more advanced than humans. Thexrule stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking down at Earth. He saw blue oceans, green forests, and the lights of cities glowing in the night. Such a small world, such easy prey. "Scan for defenses," he ordered. His officers worked their controls. After a moment, one of them turned to face him. "Commander, we detect no orbital defenses, no fleet. Their most advanced weapons appear to be nuclear devices, but they are primitive. Our shields will stop them easily." Thexrule nodded. "As I expected. Open communication channels. Let them know their new masters have arrived." The message went out to every device on Earth. Televisions, phones, computers, all of them showed the same image. Thexrule, standing proud on his bridge, with his armada visible behind him. "People of Earth," he said, "I am High Commander Thexrule of the Velkari Dominion. Your world now belongs to us. You will surrender your governments, your resources, and your freedom. Resist, and you will be destroyed. You have 1 hour to respond. He cut the transmission and waited. 1 hour passed, then 2. The bridge was silent. His officers looked nervous. "Commander," one said, "there has been no response. No military action, no surrender, nothing." Thexrule frowned. "They are frozen with fear. No matter. We will show them what happens to those who do not obey." He was about to give the order to fire when something happened. Every screen on his ship flickered. A new image appeared. It showed a human, small, soft-skinned, with dark eyes that held no fear. The human spoke in a calm, clear voice. "You have made a mistake. You have 24 hours to leave our world. There will be no second warning." Then the screen went dark. Thexrule stared at the blank screen. Around him, his officers shifted nervously. For a moment, just a moment, he felt something cold touch his heart. But he pushed it away. "Arrogant creatures," he growled. "They dare threaten us? Target their largest city. Show them the price of defiance." The weapons powered up. The targeting systems locked onto the human city of São Paulo. 12 million people lived there. In moments, they would all be gone. Thexrule smiled and gave the order. "Fire." And in that moment, without knowing it, he sealed the fate of his entire species. Far away in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council, 10,000 representatives watched in silence. The Etherian elder closed his eyes and whispered words that no one else could hear. "Forgive them," he said. "They do not understand what they have awakened." The plasma fire fell from the sky like burning rain. It hit São Paulo with enough force to crack the earth and turn steel into smoke. Buildings that had stood for 100 years vanished in seconds. The heat was so intense that stone itself began to melt. Thexrule watched from his bridge with satisfaction. This was power. This was the Velkari way. Break them first, then rule what remains. But something was wrong. His sensor officer made a strange sound. It was almost like choking. "Commander," the officer said, his voice shaking. The city was empty." Thexrule turned sharply. "What?" 12 million people lived there. Our scans confirmed this 17 minutes ago. But now... The officer looked at his screens like he did not believe what they showed. There is no one. No bodies, no survivors. No one was there when we fired. Impossible. Where did they go? Underground, Commander. There are tunnels. Thousands of tunnels. They go deep into the earth. But these tunnels were not on any scan. They did not exist until now. Thexrule felt the cold touch return to his heart. How could 12 million people disappear in 17 minutes? How could they build tunnels that his sensors could not see? What kind of creatures were these humans? He did not have time to think about it. Every light on his ship went dark. Every screen turned to static. The hum of the engines stopped. For 3 terrible seconds. The flagship of the Velkari Armada floated dead in space. Then the screens came back to life. But they did not show what they should have shown. They showed human faces, hundreds of them. Young and old, male and female, with skin of every color. They stared out from the screens with eyes that held no fear, no anger, no mercy, just calm, patient focus. A voice spoke through every speaker on the ship. "You were warned. Now you will learn." The ship's weapons powered down by themselves. The navigation systems began to spin randomly. On decks throughout the ship, doors opened and closed without reason. Life support started venting atmosphere in some sections while flooding others with toxic gas. The humans had not fired a single weapon. They had not sent a single ship. They had simply reached into the Velkari computers and taken control. Thexrul screamed at his officers to fix it, to find the source, to do something. But there was nothing they could do. The humans were not attacking from outside. They were already inside. They had been inside the Velkari systems for years, maybe decades, waiting for this moment. Across the Armada, the same thing happened. 1,200 ships lost control at the same instant. Some began firing on each other by accident. Others simply stopped working entirely. The greatest fleet in the galaxy had become a collection of floating metal boxes. Then the boarding parties came. They came through airlocks that should have been sealed. They came through maintenance tunnels that the Velkari had forgotten existed. They came in small groups, moving fast and quiet, with weapons that made no sound. Thexrul watched on his dying screens as human soldiers moved through his ship. The Velkari were twice their size. The Velkari were stronger, faster, with armor that grew from their own bodies. In any fair fight, one Velkari should have been able to kill 10 humans. But the humans did not fight fair. They attacked from shadows. They used the ship's own systems against its crew. They worked in teams with perfect coordination, like a single creature with many bodies. They did not hesitate. They did not make mistakes. And most terrifying of all, they did not stop. A Velkari strike commander encountered a group of 3 humans in a corridor. He was one of the most decorated warriors in the Dominion. He had killed thousands in personal combat. He raised his blade and charged. He was dead before he took 3 steps. The humans had not even moved. They had simply shot him with weapons that made no flash, no sound, no warning. By the time his body hit the floor, they were already moving to the next target. Throughout the galaxy, billions of beings watched the viewing channels with horror. The Velkari, the conquerors of 47 worlds, were being taken apart like children's toys. And the humans moved through them like ghosts, like predators, like something out of a nightmare. On the bridge of the flagship, Thexrul found himself alone. His officers were dead or fled. His guards were gone. The lights flickered and sparked around him. And then the door opened. 3 humans walked in. They were small compared to him, soft-skinned, fragile-looking, but their eyes were empty of everything except purpose. They moved toward him slowly, weapons raised, faces calm. Thexrul raised his blade with shaking hands. He was High Commander of the Velkari Dominion. He would not die as a coward. But the humans did not attack. They stopped a few feet away and simply waited. One of them spoke. "Drop your weapon. Surrender. You will face justice for what you have done." Thexrul stared at them. Justice? They were offering him justice? After everything his species had done to others, after all the worlds they had burned, these creatures were giving him a chance to live? He did not understand. He could not understand. But he understood one thing very clearly. He had made a terrible mistake. The Galactic Council had been right. Earth was not what it seemed. These humans were not primitives. They were something else entirely. Something that had been waiting, watching, preparing, something that his people had been foolish enough to wake up. His blade fell from his hands. It hit the floor with a sound like a bell ringing. And for the first time in his long life, High Commander Thexrul of the Velkari Dominion knelt before another species. In the great hall of the Galactic Council, no one spoke. No one moved. They simply watched, frozen, as the impossible happened before their eyes. The Velkari Armada had fallen in less than 1 hour, and the humans were just getting started. In the hours after the Velkari Armada fell, panic spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Intelligence agencies on 1,000 worlds worked through the night. Generals gathered in war rooms. Scientists studied every piece of data they could find. Everyone asked the same question. What were the humans, really? They had believed humans were primitive, a young species, still fighting among themselves, still bound to their single planet. The galaxy had watched them through hidden satellites for centuries. They had seen human wars, human cruelty, human weakness. They had laughed at these small creatures who could not even stop killing each other. But now those same creatures had destroyed the greatest fleet in known space in less than 60 minutes, without a real army, without a real navy, without anything that the galaxy would call advanced technology. How was this possible? The answer came from the Etherians. The beings of light called an emergency meeting of the Council. For the first time in 8,000 years, they agreed to open the sealed archives. These were records so old that most species had forgotten they existed. Records from the time before the Council. Records from the age of the Precursors. The Precursors had ruled the galaxy millions of years ago. They were the first intelligent species. They had built wonders that modern science still could not understand. They had created life on countless worlds. And then, suddenly, they had vanished. No one knew why. No one knew what happened to them. Until now. The Etherian elder stood before the council and projected images into the air. They showed ancient writings, star maps, biological data. They showed a small blue planet in a forgotten corner of the galaxy. They showed Earth. The precursors did not die naturally, the elder said. They were destroyed. And the creatures that destroyed them still live on that world. Shock rippled through the council. Voices rose in confusion and fear. The elder raised a hand for silence and continued. Millions of years ago, the precursors faced a great enemy, a species so powerful that even they could not defeat it. In desperation, they decided to create a weapon. Not a machine, not a virus, but a species, a living weapon that would fight for them. The images changed. They showed laboratories, experiments, creatures in glass tubes. They took a primitive ape from a small planet and began to change it. They made it smarter, smart enough to plan, to build, to invent. They made it social, able to work together in groups larger than any other predator. They made it adaptable, able to survive in any environment, to eat any food, to heal from any wound. And they made it aggressive. So aggressive that it would never stop fighting, never give up, never surrender. The elder paused. His light dimmed slightly, as if the memory pained him. The precursors succeeded too well. The creatures they created were everything they had hoped for and more. They fought the enemy. They won. But then they turned on their creators. The precursors tried to control them, to limit them, to destroy them. They failed. Within 1,000 years, every precursor was dead. Their cities were dust. Their knowledge was lost. Only these creatures remained. Humans, someone whispered. Yes, humans. The precursors' final creation. Their greatest achievement. Their worst nightmare. The council sat in stunned silence. The images showed early humans spreading across Earth, fighting, building, destroying, creating. Century after century, war after war. We watched them for 12,000 years, the elder continued. We watched them kill each other in ways that made even the Crothians sick. We watched them burn their own cities, poison their own land, torture their own kind. They have more words for violence than any species in the galaxy. They have practiced every form of cruelty that exists, and invented several that do not exist anywhere else. Then why did we not destroy them? A voice called out. Why did we leave them alive? The elder smiled sadly. Because we also watched them do something else, something that no weapon species has ever done. We watched them choose to be better. The images changed again. They showed humans helping each other, building hospitals, creating art, writing laws to protect the weak, fighting against their own nature. Every instinct in their bodies tells them to kill, to conquer, to dominate. But they resist. They created philosophies of peace. They formed governments based on cooperation. They punished their own kind for cruelty. They looked at what they were and decided they did not want to be that anymore. The elder turned to face the council directly. Do you understand what this means? They are not peaceful, because peace is in their nature. They are peaceful because they choose to be. Every single day, every single human being fights against millions of years of programming that tells them to destroy everything around them, and most of them win that fight. He let that sink in. This is why we quarantined Earth, not because we feared what they would do to us, but because we feared what we might do to them. If we threatened them, if we made them feel that peace was no longer possible, they would stop fighting their nature. They would become what the precursors made them to be, and nothing in this galaxy could stop them. The Crothian ambassador spoke, his voice rough. So the Velkari woke them up. The Velkari made them feel threatened. Yes. And now? The elder's light flickered. Now we pray. We pray that the humans still choose peace. Because if they do not, if they decide that the galaxy is their enemy— He did not finish the sentence. He did not need to. Everyone in that hall understood. The precursors had built the perfect weapon, the perfect destroyer. And for 12,000 years, that weapon had chosen to remain sleeping. But now it was awake, and the entire galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what the humans would do next. 16 hours after the invasion began, the Velkari armada existed only in memory. Every single ship had been captured, not destroyed, captured. The humans had taken them like a child takes toys from another child. They had walked through corridors filled with warriors twice their size and simply taken everything. 90,000 Velkari soldiers were now prisoners. They sat in their own cargo bays, surrounded by human guards who watched them with calm, patient eyes. They were given food and water. Their wounds were treated. They were not tortured, not beaten, not killed. This terrified them more than anything else. The Velkari understood cruelty. They had practiced it for centuries. When they conquered a world, they burned cities, took slaves, made examples of those who resisted. This was the way of things. The strong ruled. The weak suffered. There was no mercy in the universe. But the humans gave them mercy, and the Velkari did not know what to do with it. In the Great Hall of the Galactic Council, representatives watched and waited. The humans had won. They had proven their power beyond any doubt. Now the question was simple. What would they do with that power? The answer came 72 hours after the invasion. Human ships appeared in orbit around Velkari Prime. No one had seen them coming. No sensor had detected their approach. They simply appeared, as if they had always been there. There were only 12 of them, small compared to the warships the Velkari had built. But everyone who saw them felt a cold fear in their hearts. These ships were not made from captured Velkari technology. They were something else, something older, something that had been hidden beneath Earth's oceans for a very long time. The ships broadcast a message to the planet below. It was also sent to every viewing channel in the galaxy. Billions of beings watched as a human appeared on their screens. She was a woman, older, with gray hair and dark skin. Her face was lined with years of worry and decision. Her eyes were tired but strong. She wore simple clothes with no marks of rank. But when she spoke, her voice carried the weight of a world. "People of the Velkari Dominion," she said, "I am speaking to you from orbit above your planet. 72 hours ago, your leaders sent a fleet to our world. They burned our cities. They killed our people. They tried to make us slaves." She paused. "Let the silence grow. We have defeated your fleet. We have captured your soldiers, and now we are here, above your home, with weapons that can turn your entire world to glass. One word from me, and everything you have ever built will be gone. Your children will die, your history will end, your species will be nothing but ash floating in the void." On Velkari Prime, millions of beings watched the sky with terror. They saw the human ships hanging there like dark stars. They knew that everything the human said was true. There was nothing they could do. Nothing anyone could do. The woman continued. We could destroy you. We have the power, and by any law of the universe we would be justified. You attacked us without warning. You showed no mercy. You expected none in return. Her voice changed. It became softer, but somehow stronger. But we are not going to destroy you. Across the galaxy, beings leaned forward. This was not what they expected. This was not what anyone expected. We remember what we were, the woman said. We remember the wars we fought against each other, the genocides, the cruelty. We remember the darkness in our own hearts because it is still there. It never goes away. Every day we fight against it. Every day we choose to be something better. She looked directly at the camera, directly at every being watching. You will pay for what you have done. Your leaders will face trial. Your military will be taken apart. You will give reparations to the families of those you killed. These are not requests. These are requirements. You will obey them, or we will return. But we will not kill your children for the crimes of your parents. We will not burn your world for the decisions of your generals. We will not become the monsters you tried to make us. She straightened her shoulders. This is not mercy. Do not mistake it for weakness. We are giving you this chance because we believe that every species can be better than its worst moments. We had to learn this ourselves, through blood and fire and terrible loss. Now you will learn it too. You have 1 hour to surrender. Unconditionally, completely. There will be no negotiation. There will be no second chance. The transmission ended. The Velkari government surrendered in 43 minutes. In the Great Hall of the Galactic Council, no one spoke for a long time. The Etherean elder finally broke the silence. They chose peace, he said. His voice was filled with something like wonder. After everything that was done to them, after everything they could have done in return, they chose peace. For now, the Crothian ambassador said. They chose peace for now. Yes. The elder nodded slowly. For now. And we must never give them a reason to choose differently. On the screens, the human ships turned away from Velkari Prime. They did not fire. They did not threaten. They simply left, carrying their prisoners and their captured ships back to the small blue world they called home. They had proven something to the galaxy that day. They had shown that they could destroy anything that threatened them, and they had shown that they could choose not to. But the galaxy did not forget what it had seen. The power, the precision, the cold, patient efficiency. The humans were more dangerous than anyone had imagined. Not because of their weapons, not because of their soldiers, because they could destroy everything and choose not to. And choice, the galaxy learned that day, could be the most terrifying thing of all. 1 year after the invasion, the Galactic Council called its most important meeting in 8,000 years. Every species sent their leaders, not ambassadors, not representatives. The actual rulers of 10,000 worlds traveled across the galaxy to gather in one place. They came to discuss one thing: humanity. The Great Hall was filled beyond capacity. Beings floated, stood, crawled, and shimmered in every corner. They whispered to each other in 1,000 languages, but they all asked the same questions. What do we do now? How do we live in a galaxy with humans? How do we sleep at night knowing what they can do? The Etherean elder called the meeting to order. His light was dimmer than it had been a year ago. He looked tired. They all looked tired. We have gathered to decide our future relationship with Earth, he said. Many proposals have been made. We will hear them now. The Velkari representative spoke first. The Dominion still existed, but it was broken. Their military was gone. Their pride was shattered. The representative was a young female, chosen because all the old leaders were in prison awaiting trial. We propose a coalition, she said. Her voice shook slightly. Every species should join together. We should build weapons. We should prepare for the day when humans decide that peace no longer serves them. United, we might have a chance." Murmurs spread through the hall. Some agreed. Others looked doubtful. A being made of crystal spoke next. The silicates were one of the oldest species in the galaxy. "We propose isolation, rebuild the quarantine, make it stronger, hide from the humans, and hope they forget we exist." More murmurs. More doubt. The Crothian ambassador rose from his pool. Water dripped from his many arms. "We propose alliance. The humans are powerful. We should be their friends, not their enemies. They showed mercy to the Velkari. Perhaps they would show mercy to us too. And if they do not," someone called out, "what if they decide to conquer us all?" The hall erupted in arguments. Voices rose, accusations flew, fear made everyone angry, and anger made everyone stupid. The meeting was falling apart. Then a new voice spoke. "May I address the council?" Everyone fell silent. They turned to look at the speaker. She was human. The same woman who had delivered the message over Velkari Prime. She stood near the entrance, alone, wearing the same simple clothes. No guards, no weapons. Just a small, soft-skinned creature in a hall full of beings who could crush her with a thought. But no one moved. No one dared. "I am Sarah Chen," she said, walking forward. "I speak for Earth. May I address the council?" The Etherian elder nodded slowly. "You may." Sarah Chen walked to the center of the hall. 10,000 species watched her. She looked around at all of them, her face calm, her eyes steady. "You are afraid of us," she said. "Good. You should be." The words hung in the air like knives. "We are everything you fear. We are killers, destroyers, the children of a weapon species designed to end civilizations. The darkness that lives in our hearts is deeper and older than most of you can imagine. We have done terrible things to each other. We will probably do terrible things again." She paused. No one breathed. "But we are also something else. We are dreamers, artists, lovers, builders. We have looked at the worst parts of ourselves and said, this is not all we have to be. Every day, billions of us wake up and choose to be kind when cruelty would be easier. We choose to help when we could take. We choose to create when we could destroy." Her voice grew stronger. "You want to know what we will do? I will tell you. We will do what we have always done. We will struggle. We will fail. We will try again. Some of us will be monsters, and others will be heroes. We will build wonderful things and tear down terrible things and make mistakes that we will spend generations trying to fix." She looked at the Velkari representative. "We will not conquer you. Conquest is boring. We tried it. It made everyone miserable. We would rather trade with you, learn from you, maybe even become friends with you. But we will also not be conquered. We will not be threatened. We will not watch our children burn while we beg for mercy." She turned back to the full council. "You have a choice. You can spend the next 1,000 years building weapons and walls, living in fear, waiting for a war that may never come. Or you can take a chance. Reach out to us. Teach us about your cultures. Let us teach you about ours. Find out what we can build together." Sarah Chen smiled. It was a small smile, tired and a little sad. But real. "We are not asking you to trust us. Trust is earned, and we have not earned it yet. We are asking you to give us a chance to try. That is all. Just a chance." She stopped speaking. The hall was completely silent. After a long moment, the Etherian elder spoke. His voice was quiet, thoughtful. "You ask us to take a risk, to believe that your species can control its own nature. Why should we believe this?" Sarah Chen thought about the question. "Because we are here," she said finally. "Because we had every reason to destroy ourselves 100 times over, and we did not. Because we could have killed every Velkari soldier we captured, and we did not. Because right now I am standing in front of 10,000 species who fear us, with no weapons and no guards, betting my life on the belief that words are stronger than war. She spread her hands. We are proof that monsters can choose to be something else. That is the only proof we can offer. The rest is up to you. The vote happened 3 days later. The Galactic Council voted to extend an invitation of friendship to Earth. It was not unanimous. Many species voted against it, too afraid to take the risk. But enough voted yes. Enough decided to try. Human ambassadors arrived at the council within a month. They were strange creatures, loud, emotional, always asking questions. They made friends with some species and annoyed others. They broke protocols, ignored traditions, and treated ancient beings like equals. It was chaos. But it was also something new, something that had not existed in the galaxy for a very long time. Hope. 5 years later, humans and Etherians were working together on faster-than-light communication. 10 years later, human doctors had cured 3 diseases that had plagued other species for centuries. 20 years later, the first human Crothian comedy show became the most popular entertainment in the galaxy. Life went on. But in war rooms and intelligence offices, a new rule was written and never forgotten. Never threaten Earth, never corner humans, never make them choose between peace and survival. Because the monsters could always wake up again. On Earth, people continued their lives. They went to work, raised children, fell in love, grew old. Most of them never thought about the Galactic Council, or the Velkari, or the truth about their own species. They just lived. And in that simple act of living, of choosing every day to be kind and curious and hopeful, they proved something that the entire galaxy would spend centuries trying to understand. The most powerful thing in the universe was not weapons or fleets or ancient technology. It was choice. And humans, against all odds, kept choosing to be better. Most of the time.